It's been more than 5 seasons since we heard about Rainbow's dream to join the Wonderbolts. But after seeing what the Bolts are actually like, is it even worth it anymore? I'd say that's what we're talking about. Good day, my friends, and welcome to Fin Chat, where you get to hear all the crazy ideas floating around in my head. Rainbow Dash. She may not be at the top of every best pony list, but when it comes to episodes, she has by far more variety than any other member of the main 6. She's tried to stop Winter single-handedly so she wouldn't have to say goodbye to her friend. She gained a love of reading after being stuck in the hospital with an injured wing, and she even got to endure the pony equivalent of military training. But throughout all of her time on the show, there has been one thing about Rainbow that has not changed a bit. Her unwavering passion to join the Wonderbolts. The Wonderbolts are pretty much the Blue Angels of Pegasi, performing aerial stunts and feats that dazzle ponies across Equestria. Heck, the Bolts have even starred in a few episodes, which is good because it allows us to see them as a fleshed out group of characters instead of just an end goal for Rainbow to achieve. But after seeing the various accomplishments of both Rainbow and her squad of senpais, a lot of bronies have been coming to the conclusion that maybe Rainbow becoming a Bolt wouldn't be the best thing for her. Maybe this lifelong goal she's been pursuing just isn't going to be worth it in the end. With the upcoming episode Newbie Dash, where Rainbow's dream finally comes true apparently, I've been wondering about this myself. So with an open mind and a willingness to support both sides of the argument, I ask you this: is it even worth it for Rainbow Dash to become a Wonderbolt? To start off, let's take a look at all of the episodes of the show where the Bolts have made noteworthy appearances, starting of course with Sonic Rainboom. For most of their time in this episode, the Bolts simply act as celebrity judges for the Cloudsdale Best Young Flyers competition. All goes well throughout most of the contest, but then tragedy strikes. In a twist of fate that has befallen the great Icarus, Miss Rarity's wings burn up in the sun, sending her plummeting towards her doom. In a feat of heroism, the Wonderbolts swoop down and manage to get knocked clean unconscious by her obnoxious flailing. So basically what you're seeing here is the flying equivalent of a lifeguard getting knocked out cold by a victim he was trying to save. Well, it's okay. Every pony makes mistakes, right? No biggie. Let's see what else the Bolts did after that little mishap. Well, in Secret of My Access, they played a big role in defeating Spikezilla. Or they just gave him a haircut before getting incapacitated again. Well, what about Rainbow Falls, where Soren ends up at a commission and his teammates selflessly care for him while he's in his weakened state?
You sure have nice friends. No pony's been by to visit me. Too busy practicing, I guess.
Oh, there was Hurricane Fluttershy, where Spitfire helped out the Pegasi during the crisis situation by standing there and doing nothing. Oh, come on. This is something that could doom the entire city of Cloudsdale, and you're not even going to offer some incredibly skilled wing power to help those poor ponies out. Okay, so as you can see, the Wonderbolts have done some less than impressive things throughout the show. They've proven to be surprisingly incompetent during crisis situations, they've been shown to care more about the team's success than the conditions of an injured teammate, and aside from some admittedly impressive flying skills and a few noteworthy stunts, there just aren't any moments in the show that put the wonder in Wonderbolts for me. Now, if you take a look at Rainbow Dash's resume, you'll find a lot more to be desired. She's demonstrated bravery by saving various ponies in peril, she's demonstrated leadership by acting as the moderator of various equestrian events, and she's shown an immense amount of flight skill by just being able to perform the Sonic Rainboom alone. Heck, her freaking cutie mark came into reality because of her Rainboom. That's gotta be the coolest way to get marked I've seen in the show so far. So when you compile all of these facts together and line them up against one another, we can come up with 2 good reasons as to why Rainbow becoming a Bolt is just not a good idea. Number 1, the challenge factor. So what exactly do the Wonderbolts do? They perform choreographed flight shows for the amusement of other ponies. Sounds like something that would be up Rainbow's alley, but here's the problem. When it comes to flying skills, Rainbow has clearly shown to be a cut above the rest in just about every single way. In addition, she's often shown to be a daredevil that's willing to try new things and push herself to new limits. So with this in mind, I honestly think that Rainbow would get bored of being a Bolt after a while. Constantly performing the same routines, most of which are below her skill level, it would honestly just be holding her back from her true potential, restraining what could be the greatest Pegasus Equestria's ever seen. I often think of this line from the SpongeBob episode The Original Fry Cook when I think of this scenario.
Kid's a good fry cook, but he'll only be a great fry cook when he finally gets the guts to quit this dump.
And the same can be applied to Rainbow. Joining the Bolts would just be a hindrance and a waste of time in my opinion, despite her major intent of joining them. Number 2. the clear differences in morality. Despite a few times when she's gone against her element, though granted who hasn't in the show, Rainbow has been shown to have a very concrete moral compass. In just about every episode featuring the Bolts, such as Rainbow Falls and especially Wonderbolt Academy, Rainbow Dash has proven that when push comes to shove, she'll always take the well-being of her friends and others over being a winner any day. The same can't be said for the Wonderbolts. I mean, the reckless tactic of using a tornado to clear clouds was actually rewarded instead of penalized in Wonderbolt Academy, even when said tornado almost killed a balloon full of ponies. I mean, I'm no military expert, but I'm pretty sure endangering your fellow soldiers just to win a battle would probably not be looked up upon. And that's not all. When the Bolts had a member of their team in distress in Rainbow Falls, what did they do for him? They lied just for the sole purpose of finding a replacement so they could qualify. Heck, they never even paid him a visit in the medical ward. Granted, Rainbow does apparently teach them the error of their ways in both episodes and even gets her key in one of them, but honestly, I just don't feel that this is the right kind of environment for Rainbow. I mean, she had to school these guys not once, but twice, and who knows what other crap the Bolts could end up pulling in the future. Look, I'm always willing to give others a second chance. Heck, I'll give them a million chances if they're willing to change. But since this is going to be a lifelong commitment, I honestly think that Rainbow is far above the Bolts on the moral ladder. And her whole time there might just consist of her cleaning up their messes. And Dashi doesn't deserve that kind of life. So, based on what I've been saying, you're probably thinking that I'm 100% against Dashi's dream. Screw the Bolts and just find your own path, right? Well, not exactly. You see, everything I previously mentioned is what I think if Rainbow Dash simply joined the ranks of the Wonderbolts as a mere member. But I feel that things could really work out if she goes the Princess Ember route and gains a position of leadership. If she somehow managed to acquire a seat of power, she would be able to act as a teacher and a leader that would really be able to improve the Wonderbolts overall. She would be able to train her fellow flyers using the massive set of skills she's obtained over the years, and possibly introduce some new flight routines of her own design. She would make it a point to set all the Bolts on the right path and induce better codes of conduct so that we don't end up with repeats of what happened to the team previously. While it's certainly not impossible, it is really hard to fix what's broken when you're nothing more than one member amongst many. But when you're the one in charge, the person or pony that many will look towards for guidance and instruction, you have a real chance to make a difference. Seeing Rainbow ultimately become a Wonderbolt leader would not only be a satisfying conclusion to her story arc, but it would do much more for her than being a simple member ever could. So in the end, there are a lot of different directions that the writers could go with Dashi's future. Maybe they'll make an episode where she finally joins the team, but realizes that it's not as amazing as she thought it would be and decides to find her own path. I'm fairly certain that everyone has said something they were really looking forward to, but in the end they wound up really disappointed. What a ton of potential for a really relatable moral. Or maybe they'll go my route and put her in a seat of authority, which would not only lead to benefits for Dashi, but for the Wonderbolts as a whole. Or maybe they'll just make her a normal member, who knows. Dashi's future is still a mystery at this point, but for now, I will say that she should keep pushing herself to her limits in the ways only she can. We have no idea what to expect in the coming seasons, but as a whole, I'm confident that she has a truly bright future ahead of her. A future that I am more than eager to see when it finally happens. So now that I've given my 2 bits, I want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on Rainbow joining the Wonderbolts? Yay or nay? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Well, that's our show. So long, Bronies and Adventure Time fans, and remember to keep rowling those brains. You never know what you might come up with.